UFC Nashville is just a couple of days away, guys, and I'm doing a full card breakdown. Going to be talking odds, best bets. There's not a lot of room this card. I'll be honest with you. Last week we didn't have UFC, so I expected a big bang, but the odds makers are making it really tough. These odds are getting crazier every week, but we still found some spots. I have a complete underdog play that's already out. I have a bet of the week coming out tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to give you a full card breakdown right now, and I'm going to try to make it as speedy as possible. So if you're new here, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications. I appreciate all the support. And UFC 317 plus 3.5 units for the year of 2025. We're up 25 units. And then I'm leaving you my exclusive bets. If you go through my Instagram, $4.99 a month, you get all my exclusive bets or my winnable link, which will be in the description. Check that out. Enough yapping. Here we go. All right, guys, starting off quick, Fatima Klein against Melissa Martinez. Fatima's coming in as a minus 1,300 favorite. Melissa Martinez plus 800. This is very straightforward. Fatima Klein's a very good grappler who's going to bring forward pressure, try to bring down Melissa Martinez, and she is going to be worlds ahead of Melissa Martinez on the ground. On the other hand, you have Melissa Martinez, a very good striker. Very good. The Martinez family, a lot of striking ability, and most importantly, at the strawweight level, at the female level of mixed martial arts, she's very powerful, could always find the finish. Now, in this particular situation, I personally think Fatima Klein takes her down, finds a finish. I don't think it's going to be ground and pound. I think Melissa Martinez is going to try to work her way up, but I just think the grappling is there's too much of a gap in talent, and I think Fatima Klein finds something. Of course, I would never touch a minus 1,300 line. I always say that's the most ridiculous thing ever. However, I did find something here that I don't agree with. Total rounds under 2.5 plus 115. I think Klein finds a finish here. Klein by sub plus 275. Klein by knockout plus 275 as well. I took Fatima Klein half a unit to win by finish at plus 110. So Klein within the distance plus 110. I think that's a steal. If you want to go under 2.5 plus 115, I'd rather just take Klein by finish. I think that's solid. And yeah, I'll take that any day of the week right now. I did half a unit because I said I'm going to take it easy with women's MMA after Hong Wong Tong Yadong screwed me over a couple weeks ago. So whatever, I'm going to leave that at that. Second fight of the night, and honestly, these first two fights, if you don't want to gamble them, I completely understand with these odds. Mike Davis against Mitch Ramirez. I'm super high on Mike Davis, man. Mike Davis is very good, but he's coming in as a minus 1,000 favorite. Mitch Ramirez as plus 700 underdog. I don't see the value here. Mike Davis is extremely good. And on the other hand, you have Mitch Ramirez, who is still looking for a UFC win. Mike Davis had a very lackluster last performance, lost some money on him. I had him by sub in that fight. He almost had the sub against Yam. And quite frankly, there was just a lot of things in question. He's mentioned injuries. After the fight, there were a few fighters who said they had painted the locker rooms over there in the Middle East in that card. It had messed with them. But it was just a really strange performance. Mike Davis came out, started pulling guard, didn't want to strike. And then Yam just looked a lot better in his last two fights, to be honest. So I think, there was just a few things not going for Mike Davis. Am I done with Mike Davis? Absolutely not. He's my pick. He's the better striker. He's the better grappler by far. I think he should win this fight. I would like him to win within the distance, but I'm not touching this. There's nothing that appeals to me because I can't see this going the distance. Mitch Ramirez, a guy who I think wants to look for grappling, but in this fight, it's not going to suit him. Mike Davis is too dangerous on the ground. So I think this is going to play outstanding unless Mike Davis says it doesn't. And I just think Mike Davis is going to be bigger, better, faster, stronger in this matchup. So no money on Mitch Ramirez. No thoughts about him as an underdog. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 160 might be value there. But then again, I feel like Mike Davis might come out and just hunt him down, finish him in the first round. But I also don't like the under because I could see this being a high-level grappling match or just a somewhat high-level striking match and nobody getting a finish. So I don't know, guys. I'm staying away from here. The pick's Mike Davis. I'm fairly confident in that, but at minus 1,000, it makes no sense. Now, straight up, the first dog of the night that I'm picking, guys, we have Kennedy Juku versus Walter Walker. I've been flopping with this pick because I used to be really high on Kennedy Juku, but there's just been too many times where I've began to doubt him just with his ability or just his performances. And Walter Walker, on the other hand, I wasn't too high on him, especially after he lost to Muhammad Usman. But the guy's made improvements. The guy's showing that he really wants to be in the UFC and, performing at a high level in the UFC. So lost the weight when he needed to, made improvements when he needed to, and now he's coming off of two back-to-back heel hook wins. He's looked good, and on the other hand, just Kennedy taking a split loss to OSP. Freaking beating Chris Barnett, but fighting Chris Barnett alone. It's like, I don't know. I just think the momentum's on Walter Walker. He's making the right adjustments. And this fight comes down kind of to striking. Look at me, striking versus grappling. Walter Walker needs to take down Kennedy and his Juku immediately in this fight, right? And he needs to not be at range. He is the bigger guy, but I think he needs to find something on the ground. And I just hope his cardio holds up with this weight loss. Like I said, he's a bigger guy, but if he could hold Kennedy down half a round, man, I think this fight already goes towards Walter Walker's. And I don't think this is going to be a competitive fight for Kennedy Nzechukwu. I think he's going to get taken down, and I think he gets ragdolled. I could be completely wrong here because Kennedy Nzechukwu has proven that he could get up from once he's on his back, he could scoot back to the cage, find his way up. So I might eat those words. Kennedy Nzechukwu might look good. I favor him in the striking exchanges. But like I said, I hope Walter Walker brings in the grappling, and I hope his cardio is better. So if he needs to sit on Kennedy Nzechukwu and hunt us up for 15 minutes, I hope he can, because that's what he needs to do. I'm taking him at plus 170, guys. Kennedy's minus 210. I understand the Kennedy value. This fight is all about if Walter Walker could get up to the ground. It's that simple. If they stay standing, Kennedy Nzechukwu wins this fight, potentially by knockout, if not just outstriking him. So total rounds under 2.5 is minus 120. I kind of like the value there. This might be one of those sneaky ones, though, that it might go the distance. Fight to go the distance is plus 115. I could see that happening here, but again, with these heavyweights and just this level of mixed martial arts, man, it gets sloppy sometimes. And these sloppy Joes sometimes really just shit on everybody's day. So I stay away. I am taking the dog, though. Kennedy Nzechukwu to win by finish is at plus 130. If you like him, I think that's solid. Walter Walker to win by finish is plus 450. So Walker sub here, which I liked, even though the odds are crazy. Walter Walker sub. I mean, 2 back-to-back heel hooks. I'll hop, I like the winning method for Walter Walker by sub plus 800. I think that's a crazy prop bet. And of course, you might be throwing out some money, but I think it's worth it. This guy is looking to grapple in this matchup. Anyway, let's move it on. Lauren Murphy, Eduardo Mora. Very straightforward. Lauren Murphy's retirement fight. She's 40. It's time to go. In this matchup, Eduardo Mora should be the significantly better fighter. Going to be faster. Going to look for the grappling, going to be hunting subs, and I think she's just going to be faster while striking. The only positive I see for Lauren Murphy here is her being so durable, right? Her being able to make it to the end of the fight here, because she's just proven that her whole career. But again, coming off a long layoff, just older now. I like Eduardo Mora in this spot, and I feel like I'm lagging here. My lord. All right, Eduardo Mora minus 650. I don't like it. Lauren Murphy plus 475. I'm going to pause my stream so I don't know what's going on. Next up, Jake Matthews against Chidi Njokuani. Yep, I hope I said that right. Njokuani. All right, so anyway, Chidi and Jake Matthews. Guys, I'm taking my second dog, and plus 130. And Jake Matthews is my underdog play of the week. Listen, Chidi Njokuani looks good at 170. He's powerful. He's a good striker. In this matchup, there is a world where I see him keeping the distance, point fighting, and beating Jake Matthews. But what I will say is that Jake Matthews, his boxing ability, his technical ability is really good. And I think that he could strike with Chidi Njokuani. I give Chidi the power advantage, but Jake Matthews put some work on him. And if Jake Matthews is able to close the distance, I do not see why Jake Matthews would not take this fight into the ground. Because once Jake Matthews takes Chidi to the ground, Chidi is not getting up. So what I need from Jake Matthews is 2 takedowns in this fight. One in the first round, second round, or third round, and 1 in any other round other than that, right? I think he's going to be able to do whatever he wants to Chidi once they're on the ground. I could even see him finding a sub, and I threw that prop somewhere. But Jake Matthews, I'm pretty confident in this pick We hit Benil Dariush as our underdog play last week. That was our first ever underdog play series bet. Now it's Jake Matthews, guys, at plus 130. I think this is a steal. There's a clear path to victory. I hope he comes in with a game plan because we have seen Jake Matthews not use his IQ before. He should be grappling and he'll start striking. He should be striking and he starts grappling. So I just hope that he knows how dangerous Chitty is, and I hope he comes in with a clear game plan. Chitty's at minus 160, by the way. All right, and then the Jake Matthews to win by finish plus 425. But whatever. I'm not gonna rely on his power here. I really like him grappling, and a sub is plus 900. That's insane. So I really like that as well. All right, next up, Max Griffin, Chris Curtis. I think this is a very straightforward fight, guys. Two aging vets in the UFC, but I'm going to give the striking edge to Chris Curtis. I think he's bigger, better, faster, stronger. He's literally not taller, but he's a better striker. He's more powerful. I think he's going to be faster. And Chris Curtis looked good in his last fight. I think he got caught by Roman Kopylov, but there was an argument that Chris Curtis was going to win that fight if they made it another second or two. So Max Griffin, man, I think he's a very scary guy. I think there is power. I think that's the potential in this fight. I think Max Griffin needs to land on the chin of Chris Curtis. And of course, in this fight, what I think would stop anyone in the betting perspective is Chris Curtis dropping to 170. Right? So dropping a little more, we know how those weight cuts go, especially some of these guys who are older, their chin just goes. I hope that's not the case. I hope he's crisp. I hope his boxing is there. I think this is going to be a very high-level striking fight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Chris Curtis by decision. So Chris Curtis right now is minus 325. I got him for minus 300, I believe. Max Griffin is plus 260. I don't really see the value in that. If you take Max Griffin, I take him by knockout. Max Griffin by knockouts plus 700. Chris Curtis by decisions minus 125. I really do think that's how it happens. I hope we're not fooled here. I hope the 170 cut is not too much, and Chris Curtis straightforward win here. The master class of the night, the aces, the elites, the best the UFC has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, to start the main card at 9 p.m., we have Junior Tafa coming in as a minus 165 favorite against Tukos. Guys, Junior Tafa has been quite the disappointment in the UFC. Zero grappling ability and just lackluster performances. A little bit of a sore loser as well. I think his brother's just a way more likable guy. But similar fight styles, just Justin's a lot better. Now, Junior Tafa is coming down to 205, and he looks pretty good. He looks motivated, and I am inclined to say that he's one of those guys who's going to come back better. Right? Like he really went back, like Walter Walker, how I mentioned. He's going to come back, look a little better, look a little cleaner, better cardio, and I hope he's been working on his takedown defense, right? Because Tukos has a path to victory here, unfortunately. But what I will say about Tukos, and no disrespect, I just feel like he is not on UFC level. And I'm not saying that Junior Tafa now is all of a sudden this huge UFC prospect, but I do like Junior Tafa's striking ability in this matchup. So striker versus grappler, if you ask me, Junior Tafa could absolutely finish Tukos. Tukos doesn't have good head movement. He's a punching bag. He's a walking punching bag coming at you. So if Junior Tafa is able to evade the takedown, Junior Tafa should be able to get a finish here. So I like that within the distance. I like Junior Tafa money line at 165. But if you're betting on this fight, there's a level of degeneracy to you, and there's a level of you need help. And I'm one of those people, straight up. I'm one of those people who parlayed Junior Tafa in this fight. So it is what it is. I have a prop, Junior Tafa by knockout. It's a long shot, but I'm taking it either way. Tukos at plus 130. Yeah, I guess there's a world where he takes him down and just plays with Junior Tafa, but I'm trusting the fact that Junior Tafa is making adjustments. He's losing the weight. He looks a little better. So total rounds under 2.5 is minus 375. Under 1.5 is minus 130. Power doesn't necessarily translate all that time when you're dropping weight. Junior Tafa at heavyweight and Junior Tafa at light heavyweight is two very different power levels, and we haven't seen it just yet. So I don't feel comfortable with the under 1.5. There's also that possibility that Tukos takes him down, finds a finish on the ground. I don't like the under in this fight. I think the money line for Junior Tafa at 165 isn't the worst thing in the world. But again, guys, sloppy MMA. Junior Tafa to win by finish is minus 115. Tukos to win by finish is plus 195. Yeah, just weird. Yeah. But I think this fight is a knockout win for Junior Tafa. Let's move on. I'm wasting time on something that doesn't matter. All right. So Vitor Patrino, man, against Austin Lane. Vitor Patrino was like a minus 450 favorite, and I laughed at it. And now he's minus 750, and that's happened in like the last 24 hours. That's insane. He's going against Austin Lane, which I saw when I looked him up earlier, even though on Hard Rock it still says Austin. I think his name's DeJuan now. DeJuan Lane. Weird. Anyway, so Lane coming in as a plus 525. Guys, Vitor Petrino is the better fighter all around, the better mixed martial artist. Grappling, striking, power, speed. The only thing Austin Lane has here is I'm going to give him the athleticism. As you know, this guy's a former football player. He's very athletic, but the guy has no chin, man. And he's come out again and again, and he's getting rocked. And, he kind of made a dent in the UFC when he beat Robelis this Spain, because everyone was like, "Oh, Robelis, this knockout power." The Cuban Robelis did not know what to do on the ground. His back hit the canvas, and anybody could have kept him there. Anybody who weighed 200 pounds could have kept him there. It was embarrassing. And Austin Lane took that win, but other than that, he's just getting slept, man. And Vito Petrino's coming up to heavyweight. I think he's going to have a little more power. I think he's a little undersized at 6'2", especially against Austin Lane at 6'6". But like I said, man, he's just a better finder, and I think the better fighter. And I think Vito Petrino finds Austin Lane's chin like everybody else does. I like Vito Petrino by knockout, but it's such a juiced line. Total rounds under 1.5 is minus 170. I don't trust that at all. Fight to go to distance, no, is minus 750. Insane. Vito Petrino to win by finish, yes, is minus 375. No value there. Any fighter to win by knockout is minus 400. And then let me see winning method. Vitor Petrino by knockout is minus 275, guys. There, to me, I'm sorry. That's a line for a prop bet like that. A knockout bet minus 275 on a guy going up to heavyweight and who's been finished back-to-back times. Guys, let's not get confused, because Vitor Petrino is very good, but Vitor Petrino's pretty freaking stupid, right? So Vitor Petrino had that guillotine loss to Anthony Smith, still made Anthony Smith somewhat relevant and gave him 2 losses after that, and then just got slept by Dustin Jacoby. And I mean, he just got caught, really. He looked good in that fight, but he got caught. So a guy who's not necessarily trustworthy. So coming into a fight and the odd makers have him at minus 750. Yeah, we all have the same idea, but minus 750 is too juiced. I'm staying away from this, guys. Next up, Nate the Train fighting in Tennessee. And man, he's gonna be all America, all Tennessee, hometown hero. It's gonna be something. I think the crowd's gonna be going crazy for him. And he's going against Morgan Shereier, the French guy. And Morgan Charrier's lost me a fair share of money, I'll be frank with you. But Morgan Charrier is very good. And in this fight, I've said this about a few fighters, so I think everything's very straightforward this week. Morgan Charrier is the better fighter here, right? My issue with Morgan Charrier is that he could be a little hesitant at times. There's a lack of urgency. He packs power. He's a good grappler. He could wrestle. He could fight moving backwards, but very indecisive. With his striking sometimes, and he just gets to the shitty end of the decisions way too often. He's lost way more decisions that he's won, and it's because when he goes to the judges, he's just too low volume sometimes, and again, just makes shitty decisions throughout the fights. But is he dangerous? Absolutely. In this fight, I think Nate the Train is going to push forward, but Nate the Train's getting older, man, and Nate the Train has taken a lot of damage, and for some reason, I really do feel that Morgan Charrier is going to finish Nate the Train here. I think Nate's going to put himself in a bad position, and he's just going to get caught. I'm hoping that's what happens. I do like Nate the Train, but his style's not for everybody, and it's definitely not something that's going to give you longevity in the UFC. That's the reality. So Nate the Train plus 220. I don't think he's a terrible dog. He can outpressure Morgan. If he stays alive, I could totally see this going his way. A close fight goes his way. Him at hometown, him applying the pressure, and Morgan Charrier just being too low volume. Morgan Charrier would need to drop him in 2 out of the 3 rounds to win this fight in decision, because Nate the Train scores a good decision, right? I don't think he's going to be out volumed. If anything, he applies the pressure. He has the center control. He outstrikes Morgan Charrier. But who's getting the best? Who's getting the most damaging strikes? Probably Morgan Charrier. Who's getting the better looks? Morgan Charrier. And if they get to the ground, who's going to look better grappling and potentially finds a finish? In my opinion, Morgan Charrier. So yeah, Nate the Train, the path to victory here, make it ugly. Pressure, 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 volume, volume, volume. Morgan Shereier finds his shot, man, but he needs a sense of urgency and he needs to know what's coming his way. So Morgan Shereier minus 275. I think that's way too wide in this fight. Total rounds under 2.5 is plus 120. Over is minus 160. Nate's really durable too, man. So I think I'm a little wild for picking that Morgan Shereier finish, but I have a feeling, man. So fight to go the distance is yes minus 125 and no is minus 105. Morgan Shereier to win by finish is plus 175, and I took it, guys, straight up. I took it. I'll tell you right here. If you're watching this video that far, I took it. Nate, the train to win by finish, yes, is plus 550. So maybe I got a little overzealous with this, but yeah, I just think Morgan Shereier has the power. He might catch Nate the train slipping. That's it. I'm gonna pause this again because I'm starting to, yep, lag. Calvin Kattar, Steve Garcia. So this is like the public underdog. Calvin Kattar, everybody loves him in this spot, and for a few reasons. He's plus 100 right now, and Steve Garcia is a minus 125. Let me tell you something about Steve Garcia. I'm a big fan of Steve Garcia. I've liked him for some time. He's on this 5-fight knockout run. Um, I believe it started, or his second one was UFC 287, and it was here in Miami. I remember being there, and we were going crazy. He was the first fight of the night, and then I saw him, took a picture with him too. And I've been a fan since, man. The guy comes in, he looks for a finish. He's powerful. He's fun to watch, and he is taking a huge jump in competition here because Calvin Kattar is very good. Calvin Kattar is coming off, I think, 3 or 4 straight losses, but his strength of schedule is completely different than Steve Garcia. I mean, I think Steve Garcia's best win is Mel Costa. And yeah, right. And then Calvin Kattar, I mean, he's literally dealing with former champs, current champs, or injuries. So Calvin Kattar is very good. And what scares me about this fight is that Calvin Kattar is very durable. I mean, you saw Max Holloway set a record on this guy's body with significant strikes in one fight. So that just shows you how tough Calvin Kattar is. And even in his last fight against what's this guy's name? Zalal, he looked really good and he had a lot of volume and he came back at the end of the fight, looked really good, but Zalal was able to evade everything. So now when I'm breaking down this fight, what I really think is Steve Garcia needs to win rounds 1 and 2. I think he wins round 1. I think he's going to come out looking for the power finish. And then when you get to round 2, I think you have a concern. I think you start worrying about Steve Garcia's gas tank, right? And you start worrying about Calvin Kattar upping the volume and taking over round 2 and 3. But I feel pretty confident about Steve Garcia. I don't think he's just first round or bust. I think there's a chance that Steve Garcia wins a decision, right? But Steve Garcia needs to come in, and I think he needs to make this ugly. I think he needs to. That's the only way he beats Calvin Kattar, because if Steve Garcia for somewhat gasses out or the output drops, Calvin Kattar is going to have a field day with him, with his footwork, with his volume. I think he will get the best of Steve Garcia. Now, I am not going to shit all over Steve Garcia like a lot of people. He is my pick, and I have him in a parlay at minus 125. I really like him there. I think I got him for he was a little more expensive when I got him. But I think Steve Garcia finds a finish here. I think he's going to be one of the first people to finish Calvin Kattar. Regardless of the strength of schedule, you have to understand that this guy has the power to put people out. And even though Calvin Kattar hasn't been put out, Steve Garcia has this power. 8 of his last 10 fights, he has finished by knockout. 9 out of 10 of those fights have finished by knockout. So he's been finished one time, and we've seen him dropped before. So what I took here was this fight to finish by knockout or TKO. So I took Steve Garcia, but I also, in a parlay, I put a fight to finish by knockout. Let me see where that is. And I'll tell you exactly what I got it for. Winning alternate rounds. No, not alternate round. I have to find where this is, and I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. I have it here, upcoming. All right, so I took any fighter to win by knockout in this fight minus 145. So if Steve Garcia doesn't find this knockout in the first round, I do suspect his cardio kind of starts to tank. And Calvin Kattar's volume, I think he could touch Steve Garcia up, and I think there's a world where he knocks him out. So instead of taking Steve Garcia by knockout or just Steve Garcia money line, which I did in one parlay, I felt safe with somebody's getting dropped because I think Steve Garcia is willing to stand there and bang with Calvin Kattar. He's not gonna be looking to run away from Calvin Kattar. So when this fight gets ugly in round 2 or 3 and the volume is up, I do think Steve Garcia's not running away. I think he's standing his ground, swinging with those huge hooks and uppercuts, and somebody's getting finished. So I like that at minus 145. I think it's a really good bet, guys. And we'll see if I don't need those words. But the pick, Steve Garcia, the real pick is this fight finishes by knockout. So let's see. With that being said, what our unders are. Round line, under 2.5 round is minus 155. I kind of like that, guys. Fight to not go the distance is minus 190. I don't think that's a bad parlay. Yeah, as I keep thinking more about this fight, I feel more confident. 9 out of the last 10 fights for Steve Garcia have ended in knockout or TKO, guys. So I like that one. All right, we'll get to the point. We're going to finish this before half an hour. Stephen Thompson, Gabriel Bonfiglio. Guys, Stephen Thompson, very good striker, very experienced. He looked good against Joaquin Buckley. Age, everybody's talking that it's going to be the big factor. I don't think so. I don't think that's the factor that's going to matter here because he looked good in the Joaquin Buckley fight. And I think he makes a lot of people uncomfortable striking, and I think he's still able to do that. I think the difference here is Gabriel Bonfiglio's grappling ability. Gabriel Bonfiglio is going to come in here, and I hope, for the love of God, that he's going to shoot a takedown off the bat. Now, sometimes hit or miss with the grappling defense. Definitely has defended against high grapplers. But I think high-level wrestlers is what I meant to say there. But I think there's a world where Stephen Thompson is doing that little karate stance, dash in, dash out, that he, shoots a nice little combination, shoots in, and Gabriel Bonfiglio just ducks it and takes him down. And once Gabriel Bonfiglio takes down Stephen Thompson, I don't think this fight is lasting long, okay? I think Gabriel Bonfiglio is going to submit Stephen Thompson. There's a world where he knocks him out too, right? But I think Gabriel Bonfiglio has never seen a striker like Stephen Thompson, just like most of the opponents of Stephen Thompson. And it makes guys uncomfortable, man. They just look weird in there. They don't look the same. Obviously, we saw Buckley land that huge shot. But I think this is a different fight. I don't think Stephen Thompson's a terrible underdog in this position, but I do think that Gabriel Bonfiglio is going to have the right game plan. He's going to take down Stephen Thompson, and I think that's all she wrote. I think he's going to find something. So I really like Gabriel Bonfiglio within the distance. Gabriel Bonfiglio right now is a minus 425 favorite. Stephen Thompson's plus 325 underdog. So winning method. Gabriel Bonfiglio by submission plus 145. By knockout plus 650. Bonfiglio by finish is minus 105. That's a good one. And then, let's see the round line. Total rounds under 2.5 is minus 125. Over is minus 105. Under 1.5 rounds is plus 150. Yeah, I like the under 2.5. And I really do like Gabriel Bonfiglio at minus 105 to finish within the distance. I like it. Even though I am high on Stephen Thompson, and I don't think his age reflects his fight style right now, I think it's a good call. Last but not least, guys, Derrick Lewis, Talison Teixeira. Guys, Derrick Lewis, one of the best UFC fighters you'll ever see who is low-skilled. And I hate to say that, but it's just the reality, guys. Let's be honest. This guy packs a shitload of power, and that's what's made his name to fame. And that's what's going to put him in the UFC Hall of Fame, the most knockouts ever. And we love Derrick Lewis, and he's a personality, and my balls was hot and the whole 9 yards. But Derrick Lewis is getting older, even though the power is like the last thing to go. Derrick Lewis is just not all that good. And like, we don't have to act like he is. And I love Derrick Lewis. I'm a fan. But he's not this high-level mixed martial artist. No, he's Unk who's pissed at the barbecue and he slaps around everybody. And he will knock anybody out. That's what Derrick Lewis is, and that's just the reality. Now, Talison Teixeira is an unproven prospect. 8-0, taking everybody out in the first freaking round, 6-7, good pressure. But Talison Teixeira gets fucking hit like an animal. Like an animal. Guys, the pick is Talison Teixeira. And it's just because I have to lean for the younger guy coming up, and I think they're trying to build him up. And I just, Derrick Lewis, man, like, something's got to give, right? I think he's the better mixed martial artist, and I'm talking about Talison Teixeira. Apparently, he has grappling. We haven't seen it yet, but apparently he has it. The only way Derrick Lewis wins this fight is if he catches him in the first round. I really think that's the case. I think Talison Teixeira is this up-and-coming prospect. He's working. He's getting better. I don't like how much he gets hit, but I think he's going to evade Derrick Lewis's power, and I think he's going to finish him in the first round. And nobody could say otherwise because nobody knows what's going to happen. And he's dealt with way lower level than Derrick Lewis. And I already shit all over Derrick Lewis. So we don't know. This could be an absolute mess. This could be a Derrick Lewis masterclass. This could be a Talison Teixeira masterclass. This fight could go 3 rounds while we're not expecting it. But I'm going to go with history repeating itself, and the younger guy's going to win. And I like him in round 1. And just because Derrick Lewis has UFC experience, I'm going to like him in round 2 as well. So what I did here, I'm not taking Talison Teixeira because Talison Teixeira is currently a minus 300 favorite. He was minus 225, then 275, and now he's minus 300. Derrick Lewis is plus 225. Guys, what I got is I was going to take the under 1.5 rounds, but something in my gut's weird, and I'm parlaying it. I'm taking alternate winning rounds, round 1 and 2. So I'm basically betting that the fight finishes in the first round or the second, and I got that. I got that little butte at minus 350. I parlayed that with something else to get a plus 117 odds, right? So if you want on my exclusive bets, guys, I already showed you earlier in the video. I appreciate all the support. The picks, Talison Teixeira, I'm not betting that money line. I'm not betting him by knockout. I'm not betting Derrick Lewis by knockout, even though what I will say is if you go here, Derrick Lewis by knockout at plus 300, I think that's how you go. You don't go money line. Derrick Lewis is not going to win a decision here. No, you take Derrick Lewis by knockout plus 300. I think that's solid. Another sneaky play, guys, Talison Teixeira by sub plus 1,000. That'd be sneaky, man. Comes in here, evades Derrick Lewis's power, just goes for a takedown, all of a sudden gets a sub. That'd be nuts. But Halton Almeida couldn't do it. So why do we think Talison Teixeira would? So yeah, I think the plays there, the under 2.5 to be safe, but under 2.5 is minus 450. The under 1.5 is minus 220. I do like that as well, but I don't know, man. I have a weird feeling about this fight. I feel like it's almost too obvious, and I feel like too many people are on it. Talison Teixeira by knockout round 1 is like everybody's play. It's gonna be everybody's play. It's the right call, but Derrick Lewis is known for coming out of the woodworks and getting something else done. Like I said, guys, I appreciate all of you. If you continuously watch these videos, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, do the whole thing for the algorithm, turn on notifications, and more importantly, go check out my exclusive bets. I appreciate all of you. I am posting my bet of the week tomorrow. See you then.